In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about murder powers, un-taboo sexiness, and just damn, all the fucks in our discussion of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult, and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Standard
disclaimer. I feel like I need to move into the microphone.
Oh, it's getting really hot in here now.
I know, already. No. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up. Or I should say, or if you're so fucking excited for the next book that comes out, and it's gonna be coming out in like a little bit more than a month, and you need a recap because you're freaking the fuck out, listen up.
That's to the point.
Yeah. If you haven't read it 3 or 4 times like I have.
If you haven't read it, have you been in a cave? Are you lost on a highland somewhere? You must be one of like 6 people in the world who has not read Fourth Wing yet. Anywho.
So I found some background info.
Thank you. Jeez, I've been sitting here.
Normally you prompt me.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So
I'm grabbing a beverage.
It's fine. The things that I found for background info actually have 2 different sources, and I have cited them.
Thank you.
Both of them kind of reference the new adult genre, which, I mean, it's not really a genre. That's not what it is, but that's what the lay people call it. Both of these references talk about new adult being a thing, and that's something that Fictional Hangover has been a part of, since Fictional Hangover started, but not a lot of people really get it yet. It's becoming more prevalent in the publishing world, and people are starting to pay more attention to it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, new adult stuff coming out of my mouth right now. So the first source that I have is Young Entertainment Magazine, youngentertainmentmag.com. And they say, what is it about young adult audiences that make you want to write for them? And I loved her response. She said, honestly, I've never published for young adult audiences, and I just wanted to go, thank you for saying that out loud. She says, Fourth Wing is new adult, written about those years of transition between adolescence and adulthood. I love how much growth takes place at that age and how messy and chaotic our emotions can be while we're figuring out where we belong in the world and what we're going to do with our lives once we're on our own, which is like the whole theme of new adult. It's that weird fucking time in your life where everyone's like, you're a grown-up now, you should be doing important grown-up things, and here you are figuring everything out by yourself.
Yeah. With hormones.
Plus hormones. So then there's another interview too that I read on Amazon. It's an Amazon book review. And she says, without new adult, there's a giant gap between YA and adult. And while we might have coming-of-age stories about finding out who we are, which is quintessential to YA, the heart of new adult is what we're going to do with that knowledge. New adult is such a unique genre because while our characters aren't fully mature, as one would expect in the adult genre, they still have very adult decisions to make and often deal with much more dramatic mistakes and consequences as befits that age. And I just love it. I love it so much. And I love that we've been talking new adult books since the very, very beginning, even in the before times. But it makes me happy that more people are paying attention to new adult as a thing.
It's a very good definition of it as well. Mm-hmm. It's clear.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. It does very much fit in the new adult.
It does. Oh, it's so perfect. They're college age protagonists being super fucking sexy.
It's a good job I've got the huskiness going on there.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
appropriate.
What are your initial thoughts about this one?
This book is my shit. This is my shit.
I know. Remember when I listened to it and I was like, Claire, oh my God, this book. Gimme.
More. I am not on TikTok, okay? Even if I have to do stuff for Fictional Hangover, I go into TikTok, do what I need to do, and then I run screaming from the room, okay?
Same seas.
I can't do... I don't understand TikTok.
No, not for me.
What I did see was... I fell down a real wormhole. I was actually watching Viking metal and dwarf metal reels on Instagram. And I know. And I got pushed through the algorithms, this person reading Fourth Wing. And it was literally her closing the book, looking to the camera and going, fuck! And that was it. I was like, I need to read this book. Mm-hmm. It's got a dragon on the front, and it makes somebody exclaim fuck at the end. Mm-hmm. So this sounds like wow, like, and coincidentally just happened to be going to the bookshop that weekend, saw it on the shelf, picked it up, was like, oh my God, I need to read this now. So I bought it. Not because it's any TikTok sensation, purely from one video. And after that video, that reel, I saw a lot more like momentum and pick up for it. And oh my God, I'm so glad I've consumed this, and I need to consume it again.
Yeah.
It is just so freaking my shit.
Yeah.
This is my shit.
I feel like, does everyone remember, God, has it been 2 years ago now? Or was it just the beginning of last year? I can't remember. When I obsessively listened to Into the Mist by PC Cast over and over and over and over and over again.
I think that was just last year.
Was it? I can't remember. This is the same thing. I literally have listened to it twice and like read the text once.
Yeah.
Too much.
No.
Never enough.
I deny.
Never enough.
I deny that.
Never enough. So we need to get into it, because also in my initial thoughts, other than dear Lord, this book, my initial thought is also, sit back, friends. This is a long one.
I was so shocked when the audio book was 21 hours.
I know, it's like 500 fucking pages long. It's huge. It's a huge book.
It doesn't feel like a huge book. When you look at the book, it just feels like a normal hardback book, because I mean, it's not in softback yet. But no, 21 hours.
It's huge. It's huge.
Right.
Huge. All right. Violet Sorngale is about to begin her first year at Basgiath War College. She has spent her entire life up until this point training to be a scribe, like her late father. But her mother, the commanding general, demands that Violet become a writer instead. That is, if she can make it through conscription day. Mira, Violet's older sister, pleads with their mother that Violet isn't even, well, if we're being honest, strong or healthy enough to make it across the parapet. Fragile or not, it doesn't matter. Violet must become a writer or die trying. Fucking great.
Not getting Parent of the Year award there.
Mira, already a successful dragon rider, tries to teach her younger sister everything she can to help her succeed, and gives her dragon scale armor and rider boots, and takes most of the books out of her pack, including her favorite book of fairy tales she was gifted from their father. As they head toward the parapet, Mira fills Violet up with advice, telling her to avoid the people with rebellion marks, especially Xaden Ryerson, not to make friends, only alliances, and, last and maybe most important, not die.
Oh, I thought you were going to say have fun.
No, we don't have fun.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
It's that kind of skill. Okay. Well, Violet climbs the staircase up the parapet, essentially a balance beam entirely too high up in the air, which is supposed to be similar to being on dragon back. And she, of course, ignores Mira's warning and takes 2 friends immediately, even sharing her riding boots with one, Rhiannon, to give her a better chance of making it across.
Here, take my shoe. Take my shoe, please.
As dangerous as this entire situation was, I was giggling at this point going, knew it. She also sees Xaden and swoons because he's absolutely freaking a hottie. He is gorgeous.
Oh my god.
Studley. He is a thirst trap.
Oh my god.
But he stares at her and she thinks he's going to murder her at the first opportunity, since her mother is responsible for his father's death. Doink! His father, however, is responsible for Violet's brother Brannon's death, and he led a rebellion, so Violet can hate Xaden almost as much as he seems to hate her. Mutual. He might not murder her first thing, since he's a third-year wing leader and pretty important, but Jack Barlow, an asshole in line behind Violet, decides he's going to try. Rhiannon and Violet make it across, though Violet trips and bashes her knee, but the other friend falls to his death.
Wah, wah. Immediate murder. Wait, it's not murder.
Yay!
It's accidental death, but immediate.
It's immediate. As Jack tries to chase Violet down just as she crosses to the other side, she holds a dagger she carried with her up to his balls. He decides, he's not going to kill her yet.
Does he decide that, or do his testicles decide that?
She decides that. She's making it pointed. The argument is in favour for life.
After making it across, Violet runs into her best friend, Dane, who is a second year and a squad leader. She's excited to see him, and even more excited when he sends Rhiannon off to tell another in leadership that he wants both of them put into his squad. Violet thinks he's doing this because he's happy to see her, and she also thinks that maybe they'll become more than friends, even though relationships with leadership are frowned upon, but no. He's pretty disgusted that she's here as a rider and plans to sneak her out to the scribes because she's so fragile and weak.
Dan.
She made it across the frickin' parapet with one bad boot and threatened a guy's balls, didn't she? It's not good enough. It's not good enough for Dane, because she also got injured along the way, but she refuses to go to the scribes. Her mother would, literally kill her if she did, though, so.
You know when you really like a character straight away, and then suddenly, within 2 seconds you're like, no, man, no. That happened in a paragraph.
Yeah, I know. You're so excited. You're like, oh, yay, it's her bestie. Oh, motherfucker.
What a misogynistic asshole.
Oh, he's the worst.
Ugh, right. Well, I mean, who's worse, a misogynist or just somebody who wants to murder you?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Dane promises to protect Violet. But, there's literally nothing he can do, especially when, after everyone lines up after crossing the parapet, Xaden swaps Dane's squad with one of his own, putting their group under his watch. Thoughts and feelings about that, peeps. Now he can essentially kill her for any small transgression.
Yay!
Shit.
Oh, fuck.
Dane keeps trying to sneak Violet away, but she refuses because she's a badass. After the squad swap, several dragons land nearby, and it's the first time some cadets have seen them so close up. One runs away in terror and is promptly burned to death by dragonfire. Crispy. You do not fuck with dragons.
Mm-mm.
There's been a strong smell of burned people and pee and poo in that courtyard.
Oh, yeah.
Well, after this, the cadets learn about their classes and schedules and that they'll be learning history and talking about battles in the more than 400-year-long war and that they'll all be soon fighting in it. Well, I mean, there will be, if they can pass the classes, make their way through the gauntlet, a grueling test of strength and agility, make it through the threshing to be chosen by a dragon, gain powers from the dragon and not explode beforehand, and then survive until graduation. But they'll be fighting in, just a few baby steps.
Yeah, it's fine. Totally
it's fine.
Easy.
Bye. It's high school.
Yeah.
Okay?
Ugh.
One is like the other.
Exactly the same. Violet is an excellent student since she wanted to be a scribe, but she's not so good when it comes to anything physical, which is unfortunate as cadets have to spar with each other and can kill each other without penalty as long as they don't attack while sleeping.
Told you it's high school.
Yeah, murder's totes fine, guys. It's fine. Rhiannon and Sawyer, another first year, offer to help Violet fight if she helps them with their studies. It's a good thing because they watch as Jack Barlow snaps a cadet's neck on the mat. When it's Violet's turn, she spars with Imogen, a second year with rebellion marks, and is stabbed in the ribs. But luckily, she's wearing the armor Mira gave her. Since Imogen couldn't actually stab Violet, she breaks her arm instead. Fuck.
Yikes.
So much yikes.
Damn. Well, Dane rushes Violet to the healers who have been taking care of her entire life. Dane doesn't want them to call the Mender a healer with a dragon's gift to save anyone from pretty much anything, so he can send her to the scribes. But Violet insists. After she's mended, Violet goes to her bunk and finds a gift left for her by Mira, a book that their brother Brennan wrote before Mira started at Basgith. Violet loves it and begins reading immediately. Luckily, the first thing she reads is where to find who is going to fight during the sparring. Now she can be prepared to take on her attackers, and she plans to do so with some poison.
Ooh. Violet sneaks out one night to gather mushrooms and berries to use against her opponents and happens upon a secret meeting of marked ones led by Xaden. It's against the rules for more than 3 marked ones to gather together, and at first Violet thinks of telling Dane, but then she realizes that they're not actually doing anything malicious and decides not to tell, even though they start asking Xaden when they can kill her.
Damn.
He says he will handle her, which sounds pretty terrible / also delicious. But after the group disperses, he catches her and shares that he has the ability to wield shadows, so he totally knew she was there. Instead of handling her, he just kind of gives her advice instead and suggests that she throw daggers at Jack Barlow to get him to leave her alone. That's the exact opposite advice that Dane gives her when she runs into him the next day. He wants Violet to stay away from him, grabs her face, and pleads that she run away to the scribes again. But nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
Nah. Not
Dane,
gonna do it.
Dane, this, you need to change the tune here. It's got boring now. Well, the next day, the first year cadets have a class about dragons and learn that there aren't many who will be threshing to choose a rider, so that's not good. They discuss the different types of dragons: reds, greens, browns, oranges, blues, and black. There aren't any blue ones willing to bond this year, but that's probably good because they're particularly vicious. If Xaden's blue dragon tail Sigale is any indication, there's only one black dragon in the area, and he's definitely not going to bond with anyone because no one has seen him in 5 years. He is one of the biggest dragons around and has a morning star tail. Wow. Making him an absolute killing machine. black dragons are the smartest and most discerning, and the only other one around belongs to General Melgren, who has the signet power to see the outcome of any battle. He's very, very powerful. Signet powers come from the rider, but are powered by the dragons. Talk changes to the other black dragon's former rider, whose signet power was siphoning, and the class learns that he died trying to resurrect Brennan, Violet's brother. Wow. After class, the professor tells Violet that, though she has very impressive siblings, that she is smarter than both of them. I mean, what a compliment.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like, thank you.
It's not... That compliment does not last long. Because now it's time for sparring again. And we all know how great Violet is at sparring. Jack taunts Violet, and she takes Xaden's advice and throws daggers at him, which of course makes him angry. Dane freaks out because he doesn't want to see her get hurt. But she does just fine for the next few weeks of sparring, since she poisons all her opponents.
Love it.
It's kind of amazing. So the poisoning works, and no one seems to notice that she's doing it except Xaden, who takes the place of one of her opponents who got sick before their match could begin. Xaden easily and sexily disarms Violet of the several daggers she wears, calls her Violence, and teaches her the best ways to take down opponents without poisoning them. Dane is appalled that Xaden didn't kill Violet, and shocking no one, touches her face and suggests again that she run away to the scribes because it's almost time for the gauntlet.
God damn. Broken record. Well, the gauntlet. The gauntlet is a terrifying timed challenge that is supposed to simulate the ways riders are interacting with their dragons during battle. They are hanging balls and rotating logs and spinning wheels and vertical climbs with ropes between each challenge. This sounds like hell on earth to me. It's Krypton Factor stuff I would not manage. I would be dead before even the starting whistle came. Cadets can use the ropes to retry a challenge, but they will add a time penalty, which obviously no one wants to have. The cadets have a few weeks to practice before they will face the gauntlet for real and proceed to threshing. If they don't make it through the gauntlet, then they gotta go home. No. They die.
Wah, wah.
After those weeks, Violet has never made it to the top because she's too short and has no idea what she's going to do. Do you know what, Violet? I have those. I feel you. I feel you. That's so hard. Well, Dane offers her to the scribes again.
Oh my God, Dane, fuck. Sorry.
Well, this time, she actually does think about it. Oh. Xaden encounters her the night before, though, and they have like a semi-heartfelt conversation about how she's allowed herself to hope she will succeed. And he tells her that the right way to do things isn't the only way before he leaves her alone. Oh, some sexy words of wisdom.
No. It's finally Violet's turn to go up the gauntlet after seeing several of her friends make it to the top. She has a plan, but she's not sure it's going to work, but she does it anyway. When she gets to the part she's failed at over and over and over and over and over again, a chimney climb, she pulls a rope over and uses it to make it all the way up, knowing that she's going to earn a penalty, but not technically cheating. After the chimney is a nearly vertical ramp that she's never faced before, and she knows she won't be able to make it up on her own, so she runs as fast as she can and then plunges one of her daggers into the wall and uses it to climb the rest of the way to the top of the gauntlet. She did it! Yay!
Yes!
Amber Mavis, one of the other wing leaders, accuses Violet of cheating. But Violet, with all her scribe training, quotes the actual rules to Amber and states that she brought that dagger with her from home and carried it over the parapet, which means, according to the rules, it's a part of her and perfectly allowed to be used during the challenge. Xaden...
Do not challenge a librarian.
No, don't fuck with librarians, ma'am.
Don't fuck with librarians, ma'am.
Xaden agrees with Violet. She's conquered the gauntlet, and now she gets to go before the dragons. And maybe
shit, man.
not get burned or eaten.
Oh, shit, man. This is... Whew. Woof. Well, before threshing, the cadets have a chance to walk amongst all the dragons. They are instructed to chat and act normally, so Violet talks to Rhiannon about her family, and then they talk about the folk tales they all heard when they were children, about Venom, magic wielders that steal their magic from the earth, who created their own giant flying monsters, Wyvern, that are almost exactly like dragons, except like bigger, and have 2 legs instead of 4. While they walk and talk, they encounter a feather-tailed dragon, a very small yellow dragon. All the cadets joke that it should be killed or that Violet should bond with it because they're both small and pathetic. What assholes.
Oh my God, they're
It's still a freaking dragon. Have some respect. And have some respect for Violet. She's got through the gauntlet now. Come on. Any rage clap. 2 of the more annoying cadets, that's a simplified way of putting it, get burned to death. And then Violet worries that's going to happen to her too, especially when 2 green dragons start sniffing her.
Fuck.
Would you be like smelling your breath and your armpits?
Yeah.
Yeah. She realises that they are smelling her dragon scale armour and tells them the scales came from her sister's dragon, Tien.
When the day of threshing arrives, all the remaining cadets enter the forest, hoping to be chosen by a dragon. Hours pass, and Violet doesn't feel a connection to any of them. But then she sees Jack Barlow and 2 of his cronies go off in search of the golden dragon to kill it. Violet won't let that happen, so she follows them and stands up for the little dragon while trying to convince it to fly away to safety. Xaden arrives with his dragon, Sigale, but is not allowed to step in to stop what's happening. The 3 men attack Violet, so she tosses a dagger into Jack's shoulder and he runs away like a motherfucking coward. The other 2 continue to attack her, and she manages to fight one off for a bit and knock him out. But then, when things start to look most dire, Xaden takes a step forward. Before he can do anything that he's not supposed to do, a huge black dragon appears and burns one of the attackers to death and tells Violet, inside her head, that she should kill the attacker she knocked out. She refuses, and then he demands she climb up on his back. The giant black dragon that no one has seen for 5 years has chosen Violet, and the little golden dragon flies away as if it wasn't almost just killed.
As Violet rides her dragon, she tells her his name, which is kept a secret from non-riders. So why should we know? We're not riders. He is called Tennock, or Ten. They are flying to meet up with the rest of the dragons after threshing to report that they have bonded to the generals. But Violet is so small that she has trouble staying on his back. Most dragons would let a rider fall to their death if they were unable to stay seated, but Ten catches Violet each time she slips. Oh, he's a grumpy sweetie.
I love him.
They land, and when it's Violet's turn to share her dragon's name, she does. But then she kind of hears a smaller voice in her mind too. It's the little golden dragon, Andarnam, or Andarna for short. And she has chosen Violet as well. 2 dragons? Oh shit, that can't be allowed. What the hell? The dragons gather and confer. Dean, of course, doesn't believe that she will be allowed to have 2 dragons and tries to get Violet to choose Andarna instead of Ten because he's too powerful for her, since she's so fragile. She's so weak and fragile. Good thing it's not up to him then, isn't it? It's up to the dragons, who have decided that both dragons are hers. Screw you, Dane.
Fuck
Screw
you.
Fucking asshole.
After the Empyrean, that's what the Gathering of Dragons is called, make their decision, everyone celebrates. Most of Violet's classmates survived and bonded with dragons. She has to explain what happened and how she came to have 2 dragons, which involves telling her friends that she was attacked. Dane is upset that Tarn is bonded to Violet because he is mated to Sigale, which means that Violet and Xaden are now a pair.
Oh no!
Whether they like it or not.
Oh.
Mated dragons can't be apart from each other for more than a few days, which is going to be very interesting. All the new riders are then marked with relics by their dragons, almost like tattoos, and Dane comes to see Violet's, which involves unlacing her vest. No one cares that Dane's doing it, though. Fuck off, Dane. Violet sees her own back through Andarna's eyes and loves the beautiful black and gold dragons across her shoulders. Dane then tells her he would do anything to keep her safe. Grabs her face and kisses her. But instead of feeling ecstatic that her best friend finally likes her, she feels nothing. Wah, wah.
I only imagine it's like kissing your brother.
Ugh, ugh,
Blah,
ugh.
blah. After waking up in her own room the next day instead of the barracks, now that she's a rider, Violet gathers with her friends to eat and finds that everyone is much nicer to her since she's bonded to Ten and Andarna. Even Imogen and several others with rebellion marks. It then occurs to her that all of the marked ones are being nice to her because her fate is now tied to Xaden's. She sees him across the room, sexily eating an apple, and she feels all tingly. She knows that Xaden has told them to help keep her, his mortal enemy, alive. Damn it. Why is he so goddamn beautiful? Damn that boy. But he's also so dangerous. I think the dangerousness is part of the sexiness. But really, there's no time to think about that now. You just have some water for that thirst. It's time to practice dragon riding. Violet is terrible at it. She falls off so many times, bless her. But Ten always catches her. Later, to help make her stronger, Imogen begins training her.
A month passes, and Violet starts working in the archives a little, taking books and scrolls back after classes and picking up new ones. She encounters her friend Jasenia, who is a first-year scribe now, and asks her to see if they have a copy of the folktales she and her father used to read together, since she had to leave her copy behind. But Jasenia has never heard of such a book and can't find any indication that they've ever had it in the library. That's weird. Basgaith has a copy of, like, every book ever, unless it's forbidden. But it's fairy tales? Why would that be forbidden? Why would that be a banned book? It's a good thing we're reading this during Banned Books Month. Violet leaves the library a little bit confused.
Do you know what? She probably said, oh, it's a fairy tale book and the cover's blue.
No, she didn't. She called it by its proper title. She is a respectful library user.
Well, she's a former scribe, so I'll let her off. While eating with the others from her squad, Violet finds out that one of her friends, Sawyer, has manifested abilities of metallurgy. That's so cool. But he's also afraid he's going to stab himself with a fork or something while eating, and then they talk about what will happen if they never manifest a signet. They'll pretty much just explode.
Shrug.
Later, after flight lessons, Violet runs into Dane, who is furious at her for falling off Tan all the time. Do you know what? fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Oh my God.
I think it's come across how much Din pisses us off.
Ugh.
Fuck him.
So much worse than the actual book, though. Jesus fuck.
He asks why she keeps falling, which means she has to explain all her faults, which isn't a pleasant thing. Personally, I would say, Din, you know what? None of your business. And quite frankly, Din really needs to stop being a dick. Their fight is interrupted by another cadet who starts screaming that he can hear voices. He's manifested a signet power too, and his mind reading like everyone. And you know what? It's not allowed.
Nope, not okay.
Ugh. Xaden arrives by Violet's side and tells her to start thinking of random knowledge that she has, unless she wants all her secrets revealed. So she does. But then Garrick, Xaden's friend and fellow marked one, starts to say something about the mind reader revealing something important. Maybe their secret meeting that Violet knows about. Xaden wraps the cadet up in shadows, and then Professor Carr, who teaches the cadets about their powers, rushes up and snaps his neck.
Fuck.
Damn.
That night, while Violet is sleeping and dreaming of her father, Taryn shouts in her head for her to wake up. 7 cadets who didn't bond with dragons, wait, no, 6 are unbonded, are there to kill her in hopes of taking Taryn away from her. Violet recognizes one who is bonded as she runs away. One of the attackers is Orin, who was one of the 3 that attacked her on Threshing Day that she refused to kill stupidly. Oh my God, you totally should have killed that fucker. Anyway, excuse me. Violet's room is so small, and she really doesn't know what to do trying to take on 6 cadets at once. Taryn is in her head, trying to help her out and also telling her to hold on as long as she can because Xaden is coming. Just as the cadets are about to kill her, and Darna screams, "Mine!" inside Violet's head, and time stops. What the fuck?
Whoa.
As Violet backs away from her frozen attackers, Xaden arrives, and time resumes. He uses his shadows to kill every single attacker at once, except for Orin. He slashes his throat with a dagger.
Oof, love it.
Ooh, delicious.
Love it.
It's amazing.
Violet is in full freak out mode after this attack, understandably, and whatever happened with, time. So as Xaden's marked friends Garrick and Borty and some others come to clean up the bodies, Xaden helps Violet put on her shoes. He gently checks to see if she has any broken bones and then takes her out a secret way to the flight field. As they walk, they flirt mercilessly, honestly. You know when 2 people are flirting so bad it's like, get a fucking room? You are screaming at this point, get a fucking room, man, fuck. But yeah, they're also really angry at each other as well, because it's Violet and Xaden. And Violet wishes she didn't feel so turned on by Xaden all the time. Oh my God, he is such... Oh.
Ugh.
Well, they make it to the field and find Ten and Andara and Sigil as there too. Ten and Sigil talk inside both Violet and Xaden's minds, but only Violet can hear Andana, who reveals to Violet that she stopped time. As a Feathertail, she can directly give her powers to her rider, but that's super dangerous. If anyone else knew that about Feathertails, they would absorb all of their powers, just like the Venom do in Violet's old fairy tales. Violet promises not to hurt Andana or use her time-stopping powers unless extremely small increments, and it's absolutely necessary. But Andana knows that, and so do Ten and Sigil. Xaden asks if Andana is their baby dragon and feels hurt that Sigil will keep that from him, but no, she's not. Andana's parents were killed before she hatched, and so Ten and Sigil took her under their wings. As Zayd and Violet head back after their dragons leave, he asks how the attackers got into her room, and Violet tells him that a rider let them in but ran away before he got there. Damn.
The next day, while the cadets are gathered to hear morning announcements, all of Violet's friends see her injuries, which include strangle marks on her neck. And they're disgusted that anyone would attack another cadet while they're sleeping. That's like the only rule they have. Like, you just got the one. Just follow the one rule.
It's not hard.
Xaden swaps one of his marked ones, Liam, into their section under Dane's command and makes him Violet's bodyguard. She's furious, of course, and doesn't think that she needs a bodyguard, but she was literally almost just murdered by 7 people. Plus, if she dies, Xaden dies too, and we just can't have that happen.
Ooh.
The Commandant speaks to the cadets after the announcements, which is extremely rare, and he alerts them all to a breach of the Codex that happened the night before. Dane finally realizes that something happened to Violet and is mad that she didn't tell him immediately that she was attacked.
Why would she? Dude, you are not important anymore.
Nope.
Piss off.
You're the worst.
Xaden is called up to speak, and Violet watches him swooningly, realising she wants him and only him. She would do nasty things to and with him.
Yeah, right now in front of everyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's wet.
Yeah,
Xaden explains what happened the night before with the 6 unbonded cadets and 1 rider. He says he executed the cadets, but the rider left before he arrived. Then he reveals who the rider was. Gasp. Wing leader Amber Mavis. She was the one who accused Violet of cheating during the gauntlet. She shrieks that she was only doing what was best for the wing, killing off the weakling, but how it was done, it simply is not allowed. Dane attempts to use his signet power, seeing memories, on Violet because he doesn't believe that Amber would do such a thing, but he tries to use his powers without Violet's permission because he's an asshole.
God,
not only does she not want him to touch her without asking, she can't let him see that Andana stopped time. She instead asks Ten to share her memories with the dragons who have gathered, which is never done, and then the dragons share with their riders. Everyone is disgusted with Amber, who Ten then burns to death in front of everybody. And we cheer. Violet didn't want her to die, because Violet is nice. Soft. But she's made that mistake too many times in the past, and Ten won't have it.
Thank you,
Violet needs
Taryn.
to learn sometimes you have to murder a bitch.
Sometimes you gotta murder a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A week or so passes, and Violet, with her constant companion Liam, heads to archives duty. While they wait on Jasenia to gather the materials, Violet asks Liam about how he and Xaden know each other. They were adopted by the same person after their parents were killed after the rebellion, which Violet didn't know was a thing. She also thought that only Liam's mother was killed. That's what she read anyway, but he informs her that he had to witness his father's death as well as his mother's. It seems that not all the information she learned when she was studying to become a scribe is correct. Xaden has also helped Liam survive and taught him how to fight, and has done so much to help all of the marked ones. When Jasenia returns, she's got a scroll that needs to be delivered, which accidentally falls and opens. As Violet retrieves it, she sees that a town on the southern border has been ransacked and the wards are weakening. That can't be good. Violet re-rolls the scroll, expecting to hear more about this when she goes to Battle Brief later. But she doesn't. Instead, the lessons are about battles from hundreds of years ago. They also learn that whichever team wins the squad battle that's coming up soon will get to see what life is like on the front lines of war. That's supposed to be a good prize? doing?
Oh,
Yay?
can go to Disneyland instead?
Nope. Go to war.
Damn it. At sparring practice later, Violet is training with Rhiannon, but then Zayden and Garrick spar shirtless in the middle of the room, and basically everyone just stops talking then.
It's so hot. Oh my god.
I mean, you would. Dane snaps at everyone, and Violet and Rhiannon start practicing again. 10 roars in Violet's head that she should be working harder, which flusters her, and she gets knocked down. Jack starts mocking her and threatening her again and tells her he's going to challenge her soon and will snap her neck. Oh, he's delightful. But she stands up to him and calls him out for running away during threshing. Ha-ha. One of his remaining sycophants offers him some orange, and he freaks the fuck out. But then Zayden and Liam and Garrick and Imogen move in to protect Violet, so he leaves. Zayden starts in on her too about blocking out 10 and not wearing her armour, but again Violet stands up for herself. 10 and Indana decide that she is ready to start channeling magic since she was able to defend herself.
That night, Violet is frustrated with herself about ogling Zayden and decides she needs to get laid. Yeah. But the only one she wants is him. Then energy overwhelms her and she crashes to the floor. Taryn's power is immense, but then it rolls over her rhythmically again and again, and she realizes that the power is only focusing on one part of her anatomy. Oh, great. Taryn and Sigale are getting busy.
Oh.
Violet runs outside in the winter air to try to cool herself off. But she runs into Zayden, who is suffering with the same affliction, just less so because he knows how to block his dragon from his mind. After some intense and longing looks and threats to climb Zayden like a tree, he agrees to teach her how to shield. She's able to do it impressively fast and envisions herself inside the archives with a big lock on the door that she puts Taryn and his power outside of. She can still feel his power and his lust, but it's much easier to handle. Also easier to handle, Zayden. He finds Violet astounding, and then they kiss, and it's amazing!
At last!
Even though neither of them really want to, they go their separate ways before they do anything they'll regret.
Uh-huh.
And everyone reading the book goes, "Ah, fuck! Come on!"
No, that's the problem!
I know!
That's the problem, they don't!
I know!
Violet, of course, tells Rhiannon what happened with Zayden the next day and then worries that things are going to be weird between them. But, like, you know, they already are on account of all the sexual tensions. So Violet worries what her life with Zayden is going to be like after he graduates because their dragons can't be separated for long. Before they can talk more about that, though, Rhiannon shares what happened to her the night before. She developed her signet. Yay!
Yay!
She's able to summon items by making them disappear and reappear at will, which is amazing!
That's amazing!
They go to class after that, but Dan stops Violet to talk. He's still upset, boo-hoo, about Violet not telling him she was attacked. Get over yourself, Dan, and getting help from Zayden. She stands up for herself, again, we cheer, and basically tells Dan to get over it and the fact that she and Zayden are tied together now because of their dragons. And we clap.
Time passes, and all of Violet's friends develop their signet powers while she is still left behind. She feels like if she doesn't develop hers soon, she's going to explode, but she's got more important things to worry about. Jack Barlow is challenging her in their next sparring match, and she's afraid she's not going to survive. She has a plan, but will she be able to pull it off? They begin fighting, and Violet is quick, but Jack breaks all the rules and throws knives and then uses his signet powers on her, which seem to electrocute her. As she's violently shaking and about to pass out, she shoves a vial of orange oil into his mouth, and he almost immediately goes into anaphylactic shock. Yay!
Woo!
Xaden is impressed with her ingenuity, but not impressed with anything else about her fighting skills. He decides that he's going to take over her training on the mat, and god damn is it sexy. And so are the daggers he had made for her.
Damn! Oh my god, who knew daggers were her love language?
Oh my god.
February passes and March arrives. Xaden takes Violet out of her classes one day for flight training. Dane puts up a fuss as per usual. Shut up, Dane. But as Xaden and Violet head to the field, they encounter the Commandant, Dane's father, Colonel Estos, and Violet's mother, the Commander General. They turn their noses up at Xaden and ask Violet about her inability to wield and if she's gained any powers from Andana. But she doesn't let on that Andana gave her the ability to stop time. Xaden is surprised that Violet didn't tell her mom, but, they don't exactly have the best relationship. Do they have a relationship?
I was about to say, or any relationship at all.
She and Xaden continue on to the flight field, and Violet is excited to see that Andana is flying with them this time.
Yay!
She's such a cutie!
Now it's April and time for a squad battle. There are challenges that each squad goes through, like sparring and flying, and they're given points based on how well they do. Violet's squad is close to winning, and if they manage to come out on top of the final challenge, they will be the winners. The final task is to bring something to the battle brief room that would give an advantage to their enemies, and Violet knows just what to do. She convinces her squad to break into her mother's office and take something from there. They all use their signets in some way to make it into and out of the office and search. Violet reads missives from the other areas that seem to be begging Commander General Sorengale to send reinforcements. Violet had no idea how bad things were outside of Basgiath, but that's not what she's supposed to be focusing on. Then she finds exactly what they need to take. The map that has every battle station and everything important about the war marked on it. Of course they win. Violet feels like she won even more when Xaden smiles at her.
Oh my god, she's got it so bad.
Oh my god.
So, since they won, Violet's team heads to Montserrat, a town that is relatively safe but still front lines. This makes Violet happy because, surprise, that's where her sister Mira is stationed. It makes Rhiannon happy too because that's where her family lives. She and Violet plan to sneak out one night to visit, but of course they run right into Mira, who luckily goes along with them. While Rhiannon spends time with her family, Violet and Mira catch up. Mira has a badass scar that she got from a griffin, a massive eagle lion that the enemies ride and channel power from instead of dragons. Violet complains about not manifesting a signet, and they also talk about Dane. Mira expected them to be the best of friends, or, maybe more, but no, he's a dick. Xaden, however... Mira wants Violet to be safe about him since he's the son of the rebellion leader, but Violet can't help but trust him. He's done nothing but help her. As they leave Rhiannon's house, Mira tells Violet that she has an old book of folk tales for her that she made her leave behind on conscription day, which makes her very, very happy indeed. Something that also makes her happy, even though she can't let on that it does, is when Xaden shows up.
Apparently, Sigel and Taryn can't be separated for more than 3 days. So Xaden's basically been freaking out since Violet left. Now that he's here, he's got to act just like one of the squad instead of a wing leader and attend all the meetings and lessons everyone else is going through. In one pretend battle brief led by Mira, while everyone is scheming and forming the best ideas to attack the Griffins, and while Dane is constantly complaining about Xaden being there, Xaden speaks inside Violet's head.
Oh.
What? Violet asks Terran how he's doing that, and her dragon explains it's just like talking to Sigale. They all have a bond. Xaden says very flirtatious things to Violet while she can't say anything back, which they both seem to enjoy, though Violet does flip him off and elbow him several times. This is probably one of my most favorite scenes of the entire book.
It is a beautiful flirt. You know for a fact Xaden enjoys being flipped off and elbowed.
Oh my god.
After the session, Mira drags Violet, Dane and Xaden outside to yell at them, mostly Dane and Xaden. She yells at Dane because she knows he's being and has been a dick, and tells him his petty attitude is ruining his chances of progressing to wing leader. She yells at Xaden because she's afraid Violet is going to miss out on lessons the next year because their dragons are mated and she'll have to leave to be with him. Xaden puts Mira in her place about that. In case she didn't notice, he is the one who came to her. He did not force her to leave her assignment. As they begin to argue more, they all get alerts from their dragons. There's a group of griffins heading their way. Mira begs Violet to leave and Xaden to keep her sister safe, then takes off for battle. Violet doesn't want to leave, but Xaden pleads for her to do so she doesn't get hurt, for his sake. He kisses her passionately. We all swoon as Terran swoops down to fly her away, and he and Sigale follow.
Some time passes, and Violet is worried that Mira was killed in the attack near Montserrat, but she finally finds out that no one died. It's a good thing she learned that, because now it's time for the war games, so she needs to have her wits about her. She also learns how to speak back to Xaden in his mind, so they get even more secretly flirty with each other. He's also made a saddle for Terran to wear so she can keep her seat during flight. It's an amazingly thoughtful gift, just like the daggers he had made for her, but it's also helpful for Terran, who doesn't have to waste his magic and energy keeping Violet on his back or catching her every time she falls. The squad finds out that they are supposed to collect an egg from the other squads and also keep a flag protected at all costs, meaning nothing is against the rules and everything goes in this fight. Jack Barlow, of course, takes this to the extreme and is fighting to kill everyone he encounters. Liam and his dragon, Day, approach Jack, and Jack stabs Liam with a sword, and he falls. Violet is terrified of losing Liam, who has been her sidekick, protector, and friend for the past few months. She uses Andarna's power to stop time, so she and Terran can reach Liam before he crashes to the ground and dies. After Liam and his dragon are out of harm's way and Andarna is quietly resting, Violet feels a humongous surge of power and hatred at Jack. She's been worried that her signet would never come and she would explode with pent-up power, but now she unleashes it as a huge bolt of lightning that destroys the tower Jack is on, collapsing it and sending Jack tumbling, lifeless, down to the ground. His dragon is sad, but Terran is ecstatic. Violet is a lightning wielder, and it's the coolest fucking power!
Fucking amazing. And she's also a killer, which she has extreme trouble coping with. Dane tells Violet that she never has to use her powers again. Shut up, Dane. But Xaden arrives and basically tells him to fuck right off, thank you very, very much. He says what we're all thinking. It's just absolute nonsense. She laments that Rhiannon can essentially teleport stuff. Liam can see long distances. Sawyer can manipulate metal. Mira can extend wards. Dane can see people's memories. And she is a lightning-controlling murderer. I fucking love lightning-control.
Oh, God, I know.
Murderer.
I know.
That would be
so cool.
Xaden tells Violet that she has the power to save cities with her signet, or entire kingdoms even, but she's still struggling with it. Rhiannon helps Violet get back to her room and comments on the weird relationship she has with Xaden, and when Violet argues that she doesn't have one, honest. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. And so does Rhiannon. And you know what? Rhiannon's totally right.
Oh my God.
She sees all. She knows all.
Later that night, while Violet is feeling sorry for herself and also very, very angry, Xaden comes to her room. After some banter and compliments and offers of being Violet's punching bag, the two of them end up having very passionate, shadow-swirling, lightning-crashing sex, and it's everything the both of them have been wanting for months. Us too.
Hallelujah.
After they're finally finished and her room is practically destroyed, and it turns out the forest was set on fire from her lightning, they clean up and spend the rest of the night together in her bed, and it's amazingly peaceful, even though Xaden tells her not to fall for him. Too late! The next day, Professor Carr comes knocking at Violet's door and takes her out for training to control her signet. Since she can't even seem to control it while she's sleeping, he says. Har, har, har. She was not sleeping, she was fucking. She struggles to make the lightning strike until Professor Carr suggests she put herself back in the same position she was in before when she was able to use her powers. Excuse me, that's not gonna happen. And
2 minutes. Oh. Can you help me with the zip?
But then she reaches out to Xaden in their minds, and he shows her images of herself through his eyes. She floods with passion and is able to call the lightning with ease, if not accuracy. Just put yourself back into the same position there, friend. Like, oh, okay, which one? Which position are we going to go with? Up against the armoire?
10? No, it was 33, wasn't
on top of the desk.
It could have been position A. Definitely 2. Definitely 2. And maybe see odd 69 as well. Wow.
That's amazing.
Xaden comes to Violet's room later, and they try not to be like walking around each other as they clean up her mess of a room. It's completely trashed. Violet wants to know more about Xaden and asks where he goes when they're not together, and he gives the name of an outpost, Athburn, but nothing more. That's it. That seems to be enough for Violet, who understands that wing leaders, especially ones as powerful as Xaden, are often called away to take care of duties. As they continue to clean, Violet sees that their sexcapades damaged the book of folk tales that she got back from Mira that belonged to her father. While she's looking at the binding, she sees a hidden note from her father. The note talks of folklore being passed from generation to generation, and how it only takes one desperate generation to change or even erase history. Ooh, but he knows she'll make the right decision when the time comes.
What?
Thanks for that cryptic message. What does this mean?
What?
Okay, her father did get a little weird after Brennan died, but I mean, does that explain this letter? Why do parents leave cryptic notes for people? No, stop it.
Look, if anyone found that, though, it could be bad.
True. Okay, we'll say rather than cryptic, it's coded. Violet and Xaden discuss Venin and Wyvern for a bit. Xaden telling stories his father told him about Venin, biding their time, and planning to steal all the magic in the kingdom. Violet thinks that Xaden is sad about his father, so she tries to change the subject, but they end up being all very flirtatious again, until they decide they better not end up falling for each other. Well, Violet has already failed miserably at that, and, probably Xaden too, let's be fair. If anyone is going to be honest with themselves, these two are mad for each other.
They
just
are.
need to admit it to themselves.
Yeah, oh my god. Graduation is coming soon, which will be difficult for Violet and Xaden. But first, there's a reunification celebration that the king is putting on, and one more part of the war games. Reunification is a fancy way of celebrating the death of all the rebels. So Xaden and the rest of the marked ones are not enjoying themselves. In fact, Xaden's not even around anywhere. Liam escorts Violet up to see the king, who is walking with Violet's mother. The king discusses Violet's powers, and then talk turns to the marked ones, who the king, Violet's mother, and General Milgren seem completely disgusted by. Violet's hackles rise, especially when they talk about Xaden and how it's good that Taryn and Sigale are mated so she can keep an eye on him. Violet realizes that Liam is super uncomfortable. Plus, she wants to find Xaden, so they leave the celebration.
Ugh. Violet finds Xaden in the middle of the parapet, which she hasn't been on for nearly a year. And now, dressed up in her fancy outfit she wore to the celebration, she heads out there to be with him. She hates that he's alone while everyone is essentially celebrating his father's death. Before Xaden can be too upset with her for dangerously walking out on the parapet, Violet tells him she doesn't care that he told her not to fall for him because he's clearly already fallen for her. He's always there for her, at her side, helping her out, teaching her things, making her goddamn beautiful daggers and a saddle, and taking care of her. She leads him off the parapet and up to his room to take care of him for once. Oh, wink. Violet and Xaden are together for hours, and she confesses that she loves him and that she shatters his window with her electric orgasms.
Unfortunately, their time together is cut short because Basgiath is under attack.
Dang.
Garrick comes to let them know that they need to get to the flight field. Xaden puts his jacket on Violet, which is precious, and Rhiannon notices immediately. But then they're out getting their instructions and learn that there isn't actually an attack, but that this is the final event of the War Games. Colonel Atos announces that the wards are down in several places and that many villages are under siege from tons of Griffin riders. Xaden and Violet are sent to separate areas. Xaden to the same little town he mentioned he was sent to earlier, which it turns out is outside the dragon's wards. But then he comes back and tells Dane that Violet, Liam, and Imogen will be coming with him. Taryn tells Violet that everything will be okay. And of course, she trusts him, and Xaden too. Dane argues that Violet will be safer with him, and then says that this is what Xaden has been scheming all along, to take Violet away and hurt her to get revenge on her mother. That is fucking ridiculous.
He is so self-centered.
Violet does think that Dane's father is sending Xaden to that area outside the wards as punishment. But it doesn't matter because, they're leaving now.
They fly for hours and are attached with a little harness to Taryn's saddle and stop for a break near the outpost by Athbine. And then Xaden takes Violet aside. Kiss. Unfortunately, after that, Griffin riders arrive. Xaden turns protectively to shield Violet, tells her he'll explain, and then tells the Griffin riders that they're early. Excuse me, what?
What?
What? Excuse me?
What? What?
Xaden, bombshell alert, is helping the Griffin riders.
Oh my god.
He's a traitor, just like his goddamn father. So, are all the other marked ones? Because, they're all right here too? What the hell? The Griffin Riders are actually called Flyers and have arrived early to pick up their shipment of weapons to alert Xaden and the others that the Venom are approaching and will soon attack. What? Again?
What? Stop it. What?
Bombshell after bombshell. Venom are real? What? Violet has a lot of trouble understanding what is going on. And do you know what? She's fucking furious. But she's not only angry at Xaden for keeping all of this from her. She's also mad at both their dragons because they've known about this all times. But wait, there's more.
No!
Didn't her father leave her a message warning her of this and telling her he knows she'll make the right decision? Oh, cryptic message alert. The Flyers wish Zayden good luck in getting Sorrengail to fight for anyone outside the borders. Shit. Goddamn shit.
Zayden tries to explain to Violet what is going on, that the Venom are real, and that the weapons he's given the Griffin Flyers are made from the same thing that powers the wards, and the wards are why the Venom have never gotten close to Besgaeth. He tells her he's never lied to her and isn't lying to her now, but he needs to know if she's going to go with him to Athbine and if she's gonna tell Dane what she's seen. Because if she does, everything he's been doing to protect the people outside the wards will be lost. She agrees to go, but is very wary, and her trust is completely broken. When they arrive at Athbine, it's completely deserted, but Liam can see something approaching in the distance. There's a missive from Colonel Atos that says Zayden has a choice to abandon their enemy or abandon command of his wing. Oh, shit. Dane's father knew they were helping the Griffin Flyers at Athbine, and Zayden knows how. Dane's memory reading power. He took the name of this outpost from Violet's memory, without her permission. All he needed to do was touch her face, which he does all the fucking time. And now, the Venom are coming. They've been sent to this outpost to die. Fuck!
Well, I mean, things go downhill quickly. The shit has hit the fan, and now we're sliding that in the shitty sluice.
Ugh.
7 Griffin Flyers arrive and tell Zayden and his group to leave because 4 Venom are coming, and it only took 2 of them to bring down an entire city. And then they see Wyvern too. Zayden asks everyone what they want to do, and everyone agrees that they will stay and fight, even Violet. Zayden gives Violet daggers that will kill the Venom and tells her to stay alive so he can tell her everything she wants to know. She hates that she still loves him, but she does. And then they launch into the air on their dragons and send Andara away to hide. There are at least 6 Wyvern, but more keep showing up. It's an entire horde. The fight is horrible, but Ten helps Violet realise that the Venom and the Wyvern are just like dragons and their riders. If one dies, their companion dies too. And in the case of Venom, when one of them dies, every Wyvern they created will die. Whoa. But it takes a long time to realise that. It takes too long to realise that.
The battle is just fucking painful. Violet uses her lightning power, but she cannot control it enough to strike true when she needs it to. So she burns a lot of her energy and Terns too. Zayden uses his shadows to protect people on the ground, and Liam, Imogen, Garrick, and Bodhi fight alongside the Griffin Flyers. Unfortunately, Day, Liam's dragon, is killed by a wyvern, which kills Liam too, and it's so heart-wrenching. Violet is filled with rage. After seeing her friend and his dragon die, Violet decides she will stop at nothing to kill every single monster left. She and Tern fly off, but soon a Venom jumps from a wyvern and plunges a sword into Tern's back. Tern's not really bothered by the tiny sword, but Violet is furious. She unstraps herself from her saddle and goes to fight. Zayden surrounds her in shadows, but the Venom stabs her with a poison dagger before she is able to kill it. But kill it she does, causing several wyvern to fall from the sky as well, which is when Violet realizes they're connected.
There looks to be only 2 venom left by the time Violet realises the connection, and one of them looks to be the leader. She tells Xaden to kill the other one as she uses every ounce of her strength and turns to go after the leader. Andana comes to help, and with their combined powers, time slows as Violet pulls one thread of lightning directly into the leader. He dies, and even more wyvern fall from the sky. As Violet slips from Tern's back, completely drained of power and full of poison, Xaden grabs the final venom with a lasso of shadows and stabs it. The rest of the wyvern die as well. Before Violet can hit the ground, time stops again, and Andara catches her. She's not strong enough to hold her for long, but she does manage long enough.
Violet flickers in and out of consciousness and only catches snippets of what is going on around her. She knows that Liam and one of the Griffin Flyers died. She knows Xaden is terrified because she's dying. He wants to take her to the Menders at Basgiath, but that flight is like 12 hours and she doesn't have that long. Xaden knows one more place he can take her, so he does. But Imogen doesn't really think it's a good idea. Bodhi and Garrick tell her to shut up. Xaden carries Violet's body to someone as he tells her she has to live. Violet thinks she recognizes the voice that greets him.
Xaden spends the next few days at Violet's side as she recovers. She can't die. She's not allowed to die. He constantly thinks of all the time they spent together, both the good and the bad, and vows he will do everything he can, whatever it takes, to get her to love him again. Violet finally wakes up and at first doesn't remember that she felt so betrayed by Xaden, but then she does. It gets worse when she realises where he's taken her. The city that was supposedly destroyed during the rebellion, Eteria, Xaden's home. As she takes in the fact that the city still exists and she didn't know about it, which means it's been erased from history, just like the venom in the wyvern, Xaden tells her she still loves him. And though he didn't tell her everything he should have before, he's trusting her now with his life and everyone else's too. She hopes that somehow the missive that was left at Athabine and the following wyvern attack was a coincidence, and voices this to Xaden. Someone else responds to her though, telling her that it wasn't a coincidence. That someone is her brother Brennan, who welcomes her to the revolution. And we are fucking blown up. Our minds, everything.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
What?
Oh my god. Oh.
Okay.
Damn. I need the next book. I need it now.
I know. We don't have to wait very long.
It's too long.
I know.
It's too long.
It's too long. So everyone, you go and wait a little bit too, because we have to share this promo from another show. But we promise we'll come right back.
These days, more authors are including mental health content in their books. But do you ever wonder how accurate some of this stuff is?
Or do you ever read something where you know the author just gets it?
I'm Elise.
And I'm Priscilla.
And we are Novel Feelings, a podcast where we discuss mental health issues in fiction novels.
We are psychologists and book lovers, and we have a lot of opinions.
So look for Novel Feelings wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, back to your show.
Bloody hell, Amanda. Bloody hell.
Just fucking damn.
Do you know that reel I mentioned at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
And I had that exact same reaction.
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
Fuck.
There is no reason, rhyme or indication that Brennan should be alive.
No.
None. It made sense that the older brother had been killed. It made sense.
Yeah.
It gave motivation. It was fine.
Yeah.
You never call that into question at all. And if you say that you did,
You are
goddamn
a fucking
liar.
liar. Yeah, that's my surprise. I'm glad that that's where we're starting. Like, I was legitimately surprised that Brennan is alive at the end. It completely and utterly shocked.
Yeah. Mine too. It's my surprise. This needs to be said first. We're going out of order.
Yeah.
We're going off script, people. Not really. Yeah.
I have a question, though, about it.
Oh, yes. I enjoy a question.
Do you think their mother knows? And then you have to ask, is she good or the worst evil of them all?
I think... now, you see, this is a difficult one because I think if she knows she's the worst evil of them all because she's basically setting everybody up to die, I don't know. I do not know because she comes across as a horrible mother. She's all military.
Yeah.
100% through and through. She is military. You know, she probably had children because it was an obligation.
Yes.
It was what was expected of her.
Yes.
I don't know.
When they go,
I don't know.
When they go into her office as part of, the battle games.
Yeah.
She has a dagger on her desk that's obviously one of these same daggers.
Yeah.
So, is she supplying them to Xaden and the rest of the marked ones to get them to the Griffin Flyers? Or was that presented to her like, oh my god, look at what this is, look at what they're doing?
I half expect it to be spoils of war / memorabilia from her triumph. That's how I kind of...
You think that she took it from Fenn Ryerson after she killed him and was like, oh, I got his knife.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is a bit of a remembering the purpose, remembering what she can do. I don't know. I don't know. Hand on heart, I have absolutely no... At this point, I don't think we can speculate.
No.
We can be sure at all. We certainly can't be sure. And I don't know if we can speculate. Because, if you think about Brennan being back, like we just said, there was no clue, no indication, no rhyme or reason why we should have guessed that he was going to come back. And I don't think we have enough information about the mother. And I don't know which way I would want it to go.
I know. I know.
Because we like a person to be hateful.
We do.
You know? We don't need people to have redeeming features.
No.
You can be a dick and just be a dick.
Yeah, like Xaden. Oh, fuck.
I mean,
I love him so much.
I don't know what's your thoughts? Do you think so?
I don't know. Like you, I have no idea. I have these thoughts, I have these questions, but there are no answers. There's no indication one way or the other because, like with Brennan, we assumed he was dead. We've been told the entire book that he was killed, even by professors and stuff. Not just, oh, mom and sister say that he died, Professors too are like, yeah, it was really bad that your brother died because he's a mender and he would have been really, really awesome. So sorry for your loss. Everybody said that he died. But then not there he is. But then that also makes me ask another question.
Okay.
Is their dad also alive?
I think if the dad's also alive, I'd be very disappointed in that. We need somebody to be dead.
Liam's dead.
We need somebody to be dead.
Liam's dead.
Oh, R.I.P. Liam. Justice for Liam, honestly. I am so upset by Liam's death. I'm devastated about Liam's death. I adored the developing relationship between him and Violet, how she was so pissed off with him at first and was doing everything she could to escape. And then she was like, you know what? If you can't lose him, let's make him do the dirty work. And you could just tell that just a friendship had developed, and it was lovely.
Yeah, it really, really
He
was.
was precious.
Yes.
I am very unhappy that he is dead. But how perfect was his, like, character, and, like I say, the relationship with Violet was built up, and it was just so nice. And then you don't think he's going to be a character that would be killed necessarily, potentially Rhiannon or Mira.
Yeah.
I think I was leaning towards those two being killed first. But then Liam dies.
Yeah, and also it's so cutting too, because she had already saved him once.
Yeah.
She saved him from Jack. She used Andarna's powers. She stopped time, and then she developed her own signet powers to save his life. That's where her powers came from, is, rage murder. And so you think, okay, well, he's fine. He's fine because she saved him. And then, like, the same fucking thing happens at the end, and you're like, no, please, not again. I already dealt with his death once.
I can't do it. I'll pause, like, I didn't, like, pause the audio, but I paused in what I was doing in myself, and just kind of sat there and went, no?
Yeah.
No.
Well, and also, like, it was, I feel like it was worse when he actually died, because he, it's in the middle of this huge epic fucking battle, and he's fighting Venom, and then his dragon dies, which is devastating. And then you think, oh, well, maybe they're not actually that tied together. Maybe it'll be okay. Nope. Day dies, Liam dies, and he's like, just get me to my dragon. Just get me there.
It's absolutely heart-wrenching. That entire battle was so cinematic. It was so well done, and it was so wrenching.
Yeah.
It was magnificent, and it was no holds barred.
Yeah.
And, talking about at the beginning, when you gave us the background information about it being a new adult, and Rebecca Yarros gives a perfect definition of new adult. This is a perfect example of new adult, because my notes say the un-taboo sexiness of it. That's what I wrote down. Un-taboo sexiness of it.
I love un-taboo sexiness. That's
un-taboo sexiness. You can take that and put it on a t-shirt.
I'm gonna have to. And there's gonna be dragons around it.
Oh yes. I love the fact that, when they get into the school, and it's like, you know what, if you're going to have sex, have sex. It doesn't matter who you're having sex with, as long as it's not the leaders, because that's one of the rules.
But it's not. But it's not even. It's just frowned upon.
It's frowned upon. There's one rule: don't stab a bitch while they're sleeping.
Yes.
And the other one is don't sleep with the leaders. It's a bit dodgy, but it's unofficial.
Yeah. Like, you might as well just fuck, because you might be dead tomorrow.
Exactly, and that's
so
what I really liked about it.
Just go on.
They're on birth control because nobody needs to be preggo.
Right. Oh, and I loved that both males and females have this, like, birth suppressant thing. I think that's brilliant.
Exactly. They've both got responsibility of that, which I absolutely love.
Yes.
But it was just like exactly what you say. Have sex today because you might be dead tomorrow. And I love the fact that it was not taboo, that these young adults of a legal age and with consent could just fuck.
Just fuck all the time. And what was also great about it is that, they're fucking anybody. Like, Rhiannon has a crush on, like, literally everyone. Male, female. There are several characters that are like attracted to same sex. There's like non-binary characters. It's just so fucking refreshing.
Yeah. There's no explanation given as well, which I like as well.
Yep.
We've discussed this in other episodes where it is what it is.
Yep.
Accept it, move on.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to justify it.
Nope. There's one character that uses they, them pronouns, and it's just there, and it's just real, like it is in real life. So everyone needs to fuck off about it.
Yeah. Yes.
So good.
Yes.
I can't even really think of anything about this book that like I don't like, except for the fact
Dan is a dick and asshole.
Dane is a motherfucker.
I hate him.
But I also kind of didn't like how upset Violet was with Xaden at the end. Because really, he did not tell her any lies. Yeah, he didn't tell her that
it's
the
a lie
Venom
by omission, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, how do you tell someone that the fairy tales that they've grown up with their entire lives are actually real? I would just beg to differ that he was waiting for a time where it made sense to tell her, and then it just happened to happen, and he couldn't control it. I believe 100% that he would have told her.
I agree. I think the turning point in their relationship, where I think they both see the physical intimacy, was when I'm trying to think this through. When they started having sex, their relationship completely changed, and I think it was unspoken exclusivity. Which, you know, wasn't necessary, because like we've just said, you know, you might die tomorrow, have sex, you might die tomorrow. There wasn't necessarily, unless you say, are we like turning against steady?
Yeah. Are you my boyfriend?
None of that.
Are you my boyfriend?
Like, you're my boyfriend? I think I got let's go steady. There's none of that, you know?
Yeah.
But I think between Xaden and Violet, because of their dragons being a couple, they were fighting being a couple, you know. Hello, stereotype.
Yeah,
we love a stereotype though sometimes. I think when they started just realising, actually, no, we are attracted to each other, we do potentially even love each other, and they started letting those barriers down, it happened so soon, before, like so quickly. The battle happened so soon after that there wasn't the opportunity for Xaden to be like, hey, hang on, the fairy tales are true.
Yeah.
Let's think about the book that your dad's given you, and let's think about the fact that the library's never heard of the book, have no record of it.
Yeah.
So, one, who the hell was your dad? Okay, let's ask some questions there. Is it a generational stories, quote unquote stories, that's being passed down, and he's basically made a codex, but he's disguised it as a book of fairy tales for his kids, when in fact it's an instructional manual and an more accurate history, which, you know, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
How does he know with this note? Did he know what Brennan was doing?
See,
which
that's
I can't
almost,
help but feel that, yes.
kind of why I question if he's still alive somewhere. And he leaves this book for Violet as he fakes his death and goes off to join Brennan.
I don't know, firstly, how I feel about that, or firstly, if I want that. Secondly, if I want that. I don't know. There's just so many what ifs and questions.
Yeah.
It sets up the series so beautifully.
Yeah. And
makes you, like we're talking now, like having all these questions, crave the answers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My biggest issue is we've had one gasp, shock, bombshell of the brother being alive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it too much repetition to have gasp, shock, bombshell, the father's also alive? Is that too much?
See, I feel like that wouldn't be a surprise now. So, you know, she wakes up in the new, or the rebuilding city, and it's like, I can just see Brennan's walking her around, and he's like, oh, yeah, and also,
our dad's the leader of the rebellion, of the revolution.
yeah,
That's why I faked my own death.
yeah,
It could happen.
yeah.
It would make sense.
I'd be okay with it.
I think it would be nice for him to be alive. If that
Yeah.
was the case, if the father is still alive, the mum's bad.
Yeah, and that's why he left.
Or actually, no. If the father's still alive, he's gone to the revolution, she is feeding him the weapons, and she's the inside guy. The inside, working on
So
the inside.
maybe General Melgren is the worst ultimate evil of them all.
Oh, I mean, he is a dick.
He's a dick.
You know what? I think I would be fine if it turns out that it's a family business, if revolution is a family business. I don't know how Mira fits into that. Maybe she's the same as Violet.
Yeah, I mean, she just doesn't know.
She just doesn't know. So, oh my god, there's just so many questions.
Yeah. I would like it if their mother was the bad guy. I think that would be delicious. But
Yeah.
But who knows? I just found myself thinking, like, wonder if Rebecca Yarros listened to this episode. She would be like, ha ha ha, these girls are stupid.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There
I
was
feel
something.
like I'm doing going, and it's really irritating.
I know. There was
I have a question for you though.
Okay, good. There was something that I just thought of and I wanted to ask you, and it's gone.
Okay, go for
So no, it's gone. So maybe it'll come back to me.
I've got a stupid question.
Okay.
Say Hale and Tan can't be away from each other for too long.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's just because they're horny and they need to get it on?
Surely not. Surely that's not the only reason. But it would be fucking hilarious if it was.
How
Can't
hilarious!
go 3 days.
Can't go 3 days. How hilarious was that scene when she wakes up and she's like, "Ooh, oh no!"
Oh no! Oh, what is happening? My dragons are fucking. Oh my god! I need help. I need help.
And you
Oh
can't.
my
You can't.
God.
It's not like you can close your eyes, put your hands over your
No,
ears, and be like, no,
Nope,
no,
because
no.
they're in your head. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that is some unfair use of telepathy
Yeah.
/ bonding, and that's unfair.
It's not very nice. I do love that Taryn is always inside her head, though, and she'll just start, like, randomly thinking things, and he's like, excuse me, should you be thinking that right now? You need to be paying attention in class. And she's like, fuck. And then when, like, she's thinking about Xaden or needing his powers or, you know, needing him, and he's like, should I go get the wing leader for you? Har, har, har. And she's like, you shut the fuck up, dragon. All the time. Just shut up. Oh my god, get out of my head. And he's like,
He is such a sarcastic curmudgeon. I freaking love Dad.
Yeah.
He's like, I loved so many of the characters.
I know. He's the
But
best.
I adored him. I was
Yeah.
like, yes, I love a sarcastic animal. Do you remember, like, ages ago talking about fantasy books, and there was that sarcastic unicorn, and the Hawk and Fisher fantasy books that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just the sarcastic unicorn who's like, bitch, you cannot ride me because you are not pure. And he's like, oh, scandal. Love a sarcastic animal. And oh my god, Tan, he's like the grumpy uncle who will move the world for you.
Yes.
And will take care of you.
Yes.
But then he'll like call you an idiot.
Yes. I also loved
Look at this
Andorna.
shithead. Aren't they annoying?
Yes.
Here's a lollipop.
I loved Andorna too, though, because
Oh, she's the cutest.
I know. And, like, that scene where they are questioning whether where she belongs to Taryn and Sigale. And they're like, she's a hatchling. And she's like, I am not. I'm 2. I am 2 years old. I am not a baby anymore. And you're like, oh my God, you're 2. You are an infant. Stop it. You are a tiny baby dragon.
Oh.
She's like, no, I am not. I am not a hatchling. I am 2 years old. I will be full grown soon. You're so
She's
precious.
So cute. It's adorable. Oh, I love it.
I'm curious what she looks like now, because at the end of the book, after she like used her time stop abilities twice, and they were already talking about how like dragons mature very quickly, and we know that she's 2, but in just a couple of years, you know, she's going to be a full-grown dragon. And they mention at the end that like, well, she looks different now, but you know, she's still the same. She's fine. What does she look like?
I cannot wait to find out.
Like, what kind of dragon is she?
She is going to be beautiful, regardless.
Yeah. But what is she?
I think she's going to be something special.
She's going to be completely rare. Something unique.
She might be, yeah.
Is there such a thing as a white dragon?
I don't know.
Because there's all the other colors.
True. Was Gold Dragon mentioned?
Mm-mm. No. Gold was not. There's like red, orange, green, brown, blue, and black. Is there a white dragon?
I don't know. Could be.
She could be.
Could be Gold Dragon.
Could be gold. She could just be gold.
She could be a rainbow.
She could be.
I
love when they're doing the war games and she's like, I want to go too. And look, they made me a harness. And then she's like, okay, well, like, look, you can come and fly with us, but you are a beacon. So you got to go roll in the mud. And she's like, okay. I can just imagine her like belly flopping into a mud puddle and rolling around and getting all covered. She's just precious.
Splish, splash, splish, splash, splish, splash.
Yeah.
She's absolutely precious. Do you know what else is precious?
What?
Zayden's nickname for Violet. Violence.
Violence. Ugh.
Oh. I bet Violet never realised her love language is being called violence, having her ass kicked, and daggers.
Yeah. Oh. I almost wish that it was violent instead of violence, so he could call her that all the time out loud. And, like, people would be like, did he just call her violent? No, he said Violet. He said Violet. Like, no. Nope, I think he said violent. I think that would have been cuter, but violence is also very good.
I loved it. Oh, it's just... Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a lovable asshole. Like, more asshole than lovable, which is just a step above my favorite type of character.
And it's very transparent in the fact that, I mean, you know how the story is going to go. You know for a fact that Violet is going to pass all of the trials, gauntlets, challenges, everything. Yeah. You know she's going to survive all the murder attempts. You know she's going... Oh, there's mention of a big black dragon that hasn't been seen for 5 years. You know she's going to be the one that ends up with him.
Yeah.
And you know the rebellion leader's son, who is standoffish and appears to want to murder you, who is a complete thirst trap. You know she's going to end up fucking his brains out. Yeah. It's... I'm saying obvious, but I don't mean it in a nasty, derogatory way.
No,
I mean it in the fact that you can actually enjoy what everything's going on.
Yeah. Because
it's so smartly written.
Yes.
It's just quite nice points. You know you are waiting for them to get together, and it's frustrating when they're not. But it's not a horrible frustration. It's not the will they, won't they, will they, won't they, in that really tedious way. It's like they're gonna,
they're gonna, but when is it gonna be?
And then it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and it's not until she's got a murder electricity powers, and it's like, oh, snap.
Oh,
it's done so well. It is written so well, and there's so many good bombshells. And I think as we read through the series, we're going to be going, oh shit, she actually did hint to that. She did say that.
Yeah.
And that, you know, these questions that we're asking, we're like, yeah, okay. But then I think there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to be like, hang on, did we miss something? And we're going to reread it and go, yeah, we did. Oh my God. It was blatantly obvious now.
Yeah.
So,
I'm so pleased that this book was worth the hype, because there's plenty of times where books come out and people are like, oh my God, you have to read this book, and then you read it and you go, ugh, really? But this one, no, I am so glad that we read it and are covering it on the show like when we are. You know, it's been out for a couple of months and the next one is coming out soon, but like I think we're getting it at just the perfect time on the show, because the next one comes out in a little bit more than a month. I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of those episodes like The Good Girl's Guide to Murder that everyone just keeps listening to over and over and over again.
I hope so, and I hope everybody does enjoy the book. You know, not to sound like massive hipsters, and I'm sure we have in the past, but do not buy into the, oh my God, it's the book talk book of the century, blah blah blah. You know, I actively avoid book covers with book talk written on. If it's a sticker I can peel off, that's fine, but the idea of book talk does not interest me.
No.
But yeah, I do know, I have seen people who are like, yeah, Fourth Wing does not live up to the hype. But I think if you enjoy a good fantasy book, if you like a little bit of magic, you like dragons, but you know, Tan and Sigil and Andara, the dragons, but you forget that at points.
Yeah, they're also just like regular characters speaking all the time. Yeah, so exactly. You don't think, oh, there's the dragon talking. Like, no, it's just another character.
Exactly. And it's just a fantastic book that you can just lose yourself in and go, oh, snap. And then you root for the characters. Like, I root for Violet.
Yeah.
You know, I think you'll be the same, where you relate to Violet quite a lot. You know, and you think, yeah, be more Violet. Be more violence.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that I was not let down by this book. And it's just so good. Do you know, it reminds me of that book, the Dragon Riding School book I read freaking years ago. I don't know if you remember, we had this conversation on the podcast. It was during the pandemic. I remember, because my setup was slightly different. It was as we were emptying my office for it to be redone. And I remember telling you about a dragon riding book that I bought from Hill's Bookshop that does not exist anymore. And I got it on sale, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. But it was one of those traditional looking fantasy illustrated covers. And I cannot remember anything about the title. I can't remember the author. I just remember reading this dragon riding series and loving it, and not finding anything similar to it, because I loved that series so much. And I finally found that replacement series. This has replaced that. And if I could find the original one, I would be so happy. But you know, we're going back a fair few, and I cannot remember what it was called in any way, shape or form. I have vague, mushy memories of what it looked like. I just remember buying it in the sale from Hills and reading it, and then starting to buy the series, and then I couldn't get any more of it, and I was devastated. And I finally found that dragon riding replacement series, like 20 years later, 25 years later. God, I'm old. And it's so, how a book that has literally just been published gives me nostalgia in the nicest, happiest way.
That's amazing.
Books, man, the best.
Oh my God. Should we play Would You Rather now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because I feel like we could just talk about this book for forever. Okay.
Oh, would you rather? Pew, 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 pew. We asked on social media, would you rather be the child of a commanding general or the child of a rebel leader? And unsurprisingly, Facebook, 78% rebel. Instagram, 75% rebel. TikTok, 100% rebel.
Who doesn't want to be a rebel? I mean, oh my God.
Well, that's true. We do have some comments. Bree on Facebook said, commanding general. I would rather my parent be, alive.
Fiona on Facebook says rebel every time. That way, I don't have to follow the rules.
Colin on Facebook, ooh, tough one. You see, there's something mysterious and sexy about being a rebel. So having your parent be the leader of said rebels is going to bring in the ladies. But then having your parent be alive and respected as a general is going to be a good time as well. Oh, how about, no, not that one. No, it's going to have to be... No, that's the wrong decision. Reboot error. This unit will return to factory settings. Please enjoy your Colatron 5000. Please input username. Thank you for registering Yamar. How may I assist you? Or would you rather you say, very well. The obvious option is rebel leader. We got there eventually.
Nina on Facebook says rebel leader for many reasons. Uniforms. I've had enough of school and work uniforms. Give me some moody, eclectic wardrobe choices. Underdogs are always more appealing. They're quick-witted, tricksy folk who are usually on the side of the greater good. They don't fight and play by the rules. That's more my style. Much better parenting option over some rigid shirt tucker. I don't know what it is, but rigid shirt tucker is like a fantastic put down.
Love it. TJ Pritz, author, on Instagram said, the rebel road all the way it is.
Glam Jen on Instagram said, I shall be the son of a commanding general. When this dystopia novel opens, I'll be yelling at my servants for bringing me cold toast. Then I'll practice my Draco Malfoy sneers in the mirror. But I'm going to meet the bland heroine destined to overthrow my mom. Fortunately for me, she'll fall in love with beds, bathtubs, and video games and leave the cause. Forget that rebellion nonsense. All hail the commanding general!
And lastly, we have Kelly DeVos on Instagram, one of our author friends. I just feel like being the kid of a general would have more perk.
I don't even feel like we have to answer this question.
Well, I think we do.
Do you? I'm obviously a rebel, no question.
Now, do you know what? I
What?
think people automatically think the rebels are good guys.
No,
Rebels
see,
are
in my
all-
head, the rebels are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
they're
that's
the
because it's
lovable
you.
assholes.
Yes, because that's you. But the impression, I don't know, that's the impression I get, that people think, well, the commanding general is boring and stoic and
Rigid shirt tucker.
rigid shirt tucker and an asshole. Whereas the rebellion people have, there's a lot more free reign to be a bit more independent. However, I think the rebellions are also a hell of a lot more violent. And they're not always correct. How many revolutions have taken place where the rebels are not necessarily the good guys?
Yeah.
So there's a stereotype going on here. And I struggle and think rebel, and I automatically think princess/general Leia. And I'm like, I want to work with that. No. Yes, that's perfect. It's correct in Star Wars, but not necessarily the case. I'm going to say commanding general.
Another bombshell, friends.
Another bombshell. Because rebels aren't always on the right side of history.
I believe they are in this book, Claire.
Maybe, but we haven't specified it's got to be the fourth wing. I mean, if we're saying the fourth wing, if we're saying it is that mother actually ever named? I cannot remember. If we're saying, are you Violet or are you Xaden? I'm going to be Xaden. If it's that case, I will pick the rebel
I
parent.
would almost pick Violet in that case.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the commanding general. I'm going to go commanding general for to be rebellious. Yeah. Anywho, shall we move on to the next question?
Would you rather cross the parapet or complete only one task of the gauntlet? And you can choose which gauntlet task.
Oh my god, the gauntlet task. My knees could not cope with either of these. I'm going to cross the parapet. I know you will not pick that because of the height issue, but I think I'm going to cross the parapet.
I mean, any task of the gauntlet is also terrible because you're like just fucking scaling the side of a mountain.
Yeah. I can't lift my own body weight. I've got strong. I'm strong upper body, but not to the I can't lift my own body weight. I can punch a dude. I can lift a lot, but I can't lift my own body weight. I don't have that kind of muscle strength, dexterity that's needed. Crossing the parapet, and I'm not doing it in the fancy costume dress where Violet got told off for that, which was hilarious. I'm going to be doing it in dragon scale armour.
Are you going to be wearing 2 good boots? Or are you giving one of your boots away?
I'm proper boots. I'm not giving no shit away.
I feel like I want to do the gauntlet because in my head, the gauntlet is, America's favorite 80s, early 90s reality show, American Gladiators, which I'm pretty sure you had something very similar in the UK.
We just had Gladiator.
Yes.
Gladiator! My brother was in the fan club.
That's amazing. But that's what I feel like.
My mum fancied Wolf.
There was a wolf in, the reboot that they tried to get going here. And I guess it was probably early 2000s. There was a guy called Wolf. And, they always wore spandex, and they were just amazing. And I always wanted to be on American Gladiators when I was a kid, so I have to go at the gauntlet. I probably will fall. But I'm going to try it.
Fair enough. Would you rather wield lightning or shadows?
This is probably one of the most difficult would you rather questions we have ever presented to me. Because I love the thought of lightning wielding, and I've written short stories and stuff and just imagined me as a character who can wield lightning. My username on my game consoles is fucking electrocute. So I would love to wield lightning. But fucking shadows, it's darkness, and I am dead inside. So I would love to be surrounded by darkness all the time. It would be amazing. I don't know if I can choose. I love both of them, and I think it's fantastic that these two powers are put together. The characters are put together. God, I love it. It's like two of my most favorite things. I don't know. I don't know.
Question. Sorry, should have asked this in the discussion, but we're talking about powers.
Yeah.
The one who could read my minds got the neck snapped very viciously. Wonderful scene.
Yes.
Why hasn't Dane had that happen, considering he can take memories, which is an awfully similar ability?
I think it's because Dane's requires touch, and the other one could just read memories all the time. And, like, he was more of a liability because, like, if you're keeping secrets, he could just walk by you and be like, oh, hey, what's up? I know what you're thinking. But Dane has to touch. And so if you wanted to keep a secret from Dane, you just have to stay out of reach of his hands. You just have to stop him from touching your fucking face. It's a face touch.
Awesome.
It's face touch, too, which is very obvious.
What an absolute asshole.
Fucking Dane. Hate that guy.
Should have
Stop
his neck snapped.
touching people's faces.
Should have his neck snapped. Next, would you have?
Did you answer this question? Because
yeah,
I
you
didn't.
Just didn't hear. You just didn't hear.
I think I'm gonna.
You can hear my answer in the edit.
I think I'm gonna pick lightning, just because it's been what I've always wanted to do.
I'm gonna pick Shadow because I feel like I could turn into the. I could live my best villain life as well.
I mean, I could live an amazing villain life wielding lightning as well.
Well, we'll just do it together. I'll create massive shadows and you can put some lightning in there.
Okay.
And it'll look really cool.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Would you rather ride a dragon, a griffin, or a wyvern?
Dragon.
Wyvern.
Next question.
Although wyvern are weird. Wyvern are weird because they've got their little legs and their little. They have to walk around, with their wing hands. They don't have actual feet. I mean, they do. They have two, but I don't know. But I have to choose the wyvern in this case because, they're the bad guys.
Well, I'm picking a dragon because see previous conversation about dragon riding school books.
Yeah. Sorry, griffins. We just kind of left you.
Griffins are too bird-like for me, and you know my feelings on large birds.
You don't like a bird.
I like some birds. Last, would you rather? Would you rather find out that venom and wyvern are real, or find out that people knew and refused to help, or...
Oh God, there's a third.
There's a third. Find out that your brother is alive and part of the rebellion.
God.
What revelation do you want? What revelation can you handle?
I want to find out that venom and wyvern are real. That is what I want to find out. Because I feel like I would be so mad if I found out that people already knew about it and weren't doing anything about it.
Yeah.
And, finding out that your brother is alive, that just feels more painful.
Feels like a betrayal, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. So I'm going to find out that the venom and wyvern are real. That was an amazing bit of the book.
Oh. Yeah. Do you know every time she mentioned that book and how it had the wyverns and, we talked about the venom and stuff, you will have been doing the same going, because they're real.
Yeah, they're real.
It's telling you.
They're real. They are real.
The book is real. Your daddy knew. Listen to the dead. I am going to pick to find out that your brother is alive and part of the rebellion, because then he'll tell us that venom and wyvern are real. So I'm going to twofer.
And that people know and are refusing to help.
you fact, because then at least you've got your brother, yay.
Yeah.
You've part of a revolution that's gonna, like, you know, actually be the right side of history, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I'm finding the loophole, and then that'll naturally lead into finding out all of the other bits and pieces.
That's fine. All right, favorite final thought quote. What do you got?
Oh God, just read the whole goddamn book.
Oh my God, yes.
Just read it. Just get this book into your brain cells.
Yeah.
But if you want me to read some quotes out to you, I will. I will. Justice is not always merciful. True. You're not attracted to toxic men, I remind myself. And yet, here I am, getting all attracted. I love the self-awareness.
Yes.
Was everyone's dragon a crumb dungeon? Or just mine?
And he's like, hi, I can hear you.
Hello. Dang it. I'm used to functioning in pain, asshole. Are you?
Oh, stab.
I think that's just indicative of being a woman.
Yeah. There's also something that, like, we didn't even talk about in the book at all, which everyone is really, like, impressed by, because Violet she is very weak. She is very frail because she has, like, a disorder that causes her, you know, bones and ligaments and stuff to not function properly, which is something that the author also deals with, and it's, like, real in real life. That's also just beautifully done. But we didn't even talk about that because we were too busy talking about lovable assholes and dragons.
Exactly. As somebody who suffers from, like, massive joint pain right now and has for quite some time, it was nice to actually have a main character who has to deal with constant pain.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying frailty, but there is weakness in those joints.
Yeah, but it's not her fault.
And not her fault. And having to overcome them and being able to overcome them, and find the saddle is an aid, a necessary aid to be able to help her in her daily life, and normalizing that.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So good.
Anywho, sorry. Your quotes, please.
Okay. I want him. There aren't enough curse words in the world for this.
Oh, there were so many swears in this book. I love that.
So many. Beautiful fucking asshole.
There we go.
It's like, that's so close to lovable asshole. It's just right there. When did I ever give you the impression that I give a fuck what people think about me?
Love it.
Oh, so good.
Aspirational.
So good. Yes. This next one that I have is... There's a sentence or two in between. So there will be a pause. But... Gods, you are such a cliche, Zayden. You are a villain hiding in plain fucking sight. But then he comes back with, I might be a villain to some, but not you.
Oh, damn it.
So good. Oh. And I feel like we would just be remiss if we did not say, I will not die today. That's so good. I'm honestly surprised that you didn't say, my breath catches and my body warms, the traitorous bitch. It's so good.
I'm trying to limit myself, if I'm honest, because
I know.
There's just so many quotes in this book.
So many.
Oh,
and they're all full of all the curse words.
It's just so
There aren't
satisfying.
enough. There aren't enough curse words.
I think that's one of the reasons why I like this book so much as well. Like, it's not afraid to have a good cuss. And
no. What did you say? What did you say earlier? It's un-taboo. What did you say?
un-taboo sexiness.
Un-taboo sexiness. Yes.
There's an un-taboo sexiness about it.
Yeah, it's not afraid to just be full of fucks.
Full of fucks.
So good. Okay. If you liked this, try this. What are you going to suggest? I found entirely too many books that we need to read when I was doing my research for this one. I think I found like 3 or 4 books.
Well, I mean...
I'm not going to read all of them, though.
No, pick a favourite.
I know.
I was trying to think of, like, rather than just being a stereotype and going down the dragon route, I was trying to think of, like, satisfying fantasy.
Yeah.
And as soon as I think about, like, favourites fantasies, I automatically go to the Black Magician trilogy by Trudy Canavan. But I've recommended it before. People know about it. It's an older series. If we were to cover it, it would be Late to the Party. I love that series. Yeah. I adore it. So I asked my husband, because he loves fantasy. And one of his favourite fantasy writers is Joe Abercrombie. And Joe Abercrombie actually covers YA and new adult books as well, which I didn't realise. So I had a look. And Joe Abercrombie is an excellent author, and he seems like a really nice guy as well. And he's got a YA series called the Shattered Sea Trilogy. And the first book is called Half a King. And it sounds really fun. And it's hashtag tenuous link, but it sounds like a really satisfying fantasy, which obviously Fourth Wing was. Plus the books are absolutely fucking gorgeous. Anywho, the summary from Goodreads. Betrayed by his family and left for dead, Prince Yarvi, reluctant heir to the divided kingdom, has vowed to reclaim a throne he never wanted. But first he must survive cruelty, chains, and the bitter waters of the Shattered Sea itself, all with only one good hand. Born a weakling in the eyes of a hard, cold world, he cannot grip a shield or swing an axe, so has sharpened his mind to a deadly edge. Gathering a strange fellowship of the outcast, he finds they can help him more than any noble could. Even so, Yarvi's path may end as it begins in twists, traps, and tragedy.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of, like, similarities to Violet and, like, her group and the rebellion. And I'm hoping there's swears, because Joe Abercrombie does a fantastic lovable bastard as well. Not just an asshole, a lovable bastard. And I enjoyed the fact that it's actually a male protagonist.
Oh, that's fun too.
And I know how much you enjoy a male lead, because
do.
it's not often. So I thought there was just so much in this series that just rings for us. I had to recommend it.
Yeah.
Out of your millions that you've picked,
I've been struggling. I'm struggling.
Give at least tell me
I
the
will.
titles and authors, and then just give me the summary for one.
Okay. So the 3 that I was toying with are Divine Rivals by Rebecca Yarros,
Okay.
The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which has fucking vampires. Or Daughter of the Drowned Empire by Frankie Diane Malice.
Ooh.
And I think that's the one I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Lady Liriana Batavia is third in line to the seat of power in Bamaria, a position of wealth and privilege, but not safety. Bamaria falls under the rule of the Lumerian Empire, survivors of a celestial war whose island sank in the drowning. Now all Lumerians submit to the Emperor and his strict laws about magic. He decides what magic can be practiced and what powers remain forbidden. He decides who will die for possession of forbidden magic. Lear's own cousin was executed for wielding the wrong kind, and for years Lear has sworn to protect her older sisters, helping them conceal their own illicit magic. But when Lear must participate in the ceremony that reveals her power, she uncovers something else entirely, something that means banishment from the Empire. Faced with death in exile and leaving her sisters behind, Lear has no choice but to accept a deadly contract. She has 7 months to train as a warrior and pass the Emperor's brutal test of strength, all without magic. But when she's forced to train with Lord Ryan Hart, the man she's secretly loved since she was a girl, a feared warrior in exile himself, forbidden to her in every way, she's in danger of losing far more than her family, life, and country. Rebel forces and an invading army are destabilizing Bamaria, just as her family's secrets threaten to reveal themselves. Surviving the training and saving her sisters may mean sacrificing her own heart. Sounds fantastic. Because they all do. They all do.
Well, you're just going to have to recommend them week by week.
God, I know. It's hard to do that, though, when we have hashtag tenuous links.
I mean, sometimes it's just hashtag no link at all, but this is a good book.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, fuck it, read this book.
Exactly. Okay, give us a new or indie spotlight, please.
Okay, this one is called Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. It comes out February 20th, 2024. And I'm pretty sure friend of the show, Kendara Blake, might have blurbed this one. So, gotta go with it.
Cool.
On the night Rune's life changed forever, blood ran in the streets. Like, that's all I need to know.
Just stop
Done.
there. Done.
Now, in the aftermath of a devastating revolution, witches have been diminished from powerful rulers to outcasts, ruthlessly hunted due to their waning magic, and Rune must hide what she is. Spending her days pretending to be nothing more than a vapid young socialite, Rune spends her nights as the Crimson Moth, a witch vigilante who rescues her kind from being purged.
No,
I know,
I don't
right?
need to know anymore.
I know, right? When a rescue goes wrong, she decides to throw the witch hunters off her scent and gain the intel she desperately needs by courting the handsome Gideon Sharp, a notorious and unforgiving witch hunter loyal to the revolution, who she can't help but find herself falling for. Gideon loathes the decadence and superficiality Rune represents, but when he learns the Crimson Moth has been using Rune's merchant ships to smuggle renegade witches out of the Republic, he inserts himself into her social circles by pretending to court her right back. He soon realizes that beneath her beauty and shallow facade is someone fiercely intelligent and tender who feels like his perfect match. Except, what if she's the very villain he's been hunting?
That sounds so much fun.
It sounds so good.
That sounds like a Kendara Blake blurb book.
Yeah. So it doesn't come out until February 2024. So I think we should just get on the hype train for that one.
Yes, all the hells yes.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my god, yeah.
So good. So good. Okay, well, I just want to say this is the last episode of the 5th year of Fictional Hangover. So we're about to start year fucking 6, which is amazing.
And when we will stop referring to the before times, because the ratio has well outweighed.
I know. It still exists, though.
It still exists.
We can't pretend that it doesn't.
It doesn't, but I'm fighting against somebody who did 50 episodes.
Yeah. You're not fighting.
No,
if you're fighting, you won the fight.
I could take a bitch.
You won the fight a long fucking time ago.
I could definitely take a bitch.
You could take a bitch. Oh my god. That's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight.
Damn.
By Kaylin Barron. We love a good Kaylin Barron book.
She's really good.
So good. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
Another book is the second one in the series. God damn, get it in me now.
I know, oh my gosh.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok and YouTube at Fictional Hangover. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.